Hey y'all, out here at Griffey's Hot Rods and Restorations, and he's got the 47 Chrysler Town and Country done. We started this as a project car, and it's been done a little while, but again, sometimes it's just hard for me to catch up with them. When they're in town, I'm out of town, and that's how it goes. But anyways, today's the day, so let me get Larry run down, and we'll talk to him, see how this thing turned out. Larry, how are you, brother?
Doing great, Scotty. How you doing today?
Outstanding. Tell me a little bit about this hot rod.
Well, this here is a 1947 Chrysler Town and Country Convertible, and that is a Woody. All your TNCs were Woody, and this one is owned by a gentleman in Hilton Head, South Carolina. His name's Don Poinsett. He and his wife Mary Kay, and they gave us the opportunity to do a full-blown, complete Contour restoration on this car.
Now this one's been sliced and diced and cut too, but not in the way that we're normally accustomed to in the hot rod world.
That's correct.
This one here has had a ton of woodwork done on it and refinishing, taken back to exactly the way it would have been in 1947.
That's correct.
Man.
We took this vehicle and completely disassembled it. It was purchased about 4 years ago down in South Florida by Mr. Poinsett, and had it shipped up here to our shop, and we disassembled the car. Took 1,000 pictures of the disassembly and the restoration of this car. Actually, I have 1,121. I did him a thing the other day for it on a flash drive. We documented everything that came off of the car and how it was and what it had. When we got the car, we thought, well, it had some wood problems, but he thought it was better than it was. And when we started getting it apart, there was a lot of wood damage to it, wood rot. We used about 125 board feet of white ash, 1x8 boards. We bought 1x8 white ash boards. That's what all of this here is, white ash.
Has it all been replaced?
No. We did not build a new kit. We used everything that was original that we could, but like all of this was built, all of this door was built, all of these were built, this upright, these, the trunk lid, the majority of this trunk lid from here down was built. This part here is original. This deck lid area that guns between quarter panels was completely rotten, and that's about 6 1-inch boards that are stacked together. We've got all the pictures, and when you start out, it's about 6 inches thick.
Right.
And then you start curving and shaping and grinding and cutting it. And I had one of my employees here who had a lot of woodworking experience in the building and contracting business over the years, and home building business and cabinet making. And
how many hours do you think you have just in woodwork on this thing? That's got to be a ton.
I'd say there was probably 500 hours of woodwork on it,
man,
roughly.
Alive. And then you sent these other mahogany panels
yes,
from Mexico.
All of these panels, this is all wood structured wood, no metal in it.
This is the real part of the car.
Yeah, this is the car. Metal. This is not over metal. These quarter panels, there's a steel floor pan in this car, and a wheel well comes up here, and all of this wood is attached to it. There is no steel behind this. In other words, when you open these doors, all of the door, this is all wood. So we started cutting, and Jeff that works for me did the woodwork on it. He felt like he could undertake that project. We were looking for somebody to do that because that wasn't really our expertise.
That would be something that you're right, a shop normally wouldn't have anymore, as somebody that's that proficient in working with wood.
And he did a great job. He said, I like a challenge, and I think I can do it. If we order a few more tools, I think we can do that. So I ordered the equipment, and he went about cutting and making and fitting it. Now, these wood panels in the side here, these are sheet metal panels that are stamped to fit in this door.
Right.
Now they are covered. Well, let me back up a little bit and say this is a 47 Chrysler. Okay. In 1946, they started making this body, and they made this body through 48, and then they changed it a little 49. In mid-1947, these panels, up until mid-1947, they were metal panels with a 30 thousandths mahogany veneer that was steam bent and glued to them. And this car was an early 47, so we chose to go back with the steam bent veneer. In mid-1947, they went to Dynoc, which was a plastic type of contact adhesive that looked like wood.
Like vinyl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is real
mahogany,
tiger stripe mahogany. We sent this down to La Luz, New Mexico, to a gentleman named Dennis Bickford, who is the guru on these panels, and he steam bent all this wood for us and sent these panels back. And we cleared everything. We did all the clearing and painting and sanding and buffing of the wood and finishing of the wood here in the shop.
So everything is different too, like where the metal parts took automotive products and then that wood took like Home Depot stuff.
We chose to go a different route on that. We chose to go, this car has automotive urethanes on the wood everywhere, including the mahogany side panels. Our feeling on it was it moves and flexes and does well under the automotive situations over flexible body fillers and so forth, and you can get a much tighter, much smoother look. And we spent hours and hours finishing it because we wanted it to look, this car was being restored for Concours Restoration. It's been shown in South Florida at the Boca Raton Concours d'Elegance in February, and it won first place. It showed at Hilton Head in November, and it's getting ready to, it won over there, won 2 awards over there, won the Marriott Award for most outstanding convertible that they'd like to take a vacation in, and also won the Palmetto Award, so it did well there. And it's getting ready to go to the Concours d'Elegance in Cincinnati, Ohio, and then it'll leave there and go to the Lexington Concours at Keeneland. So it's.
Do these things score points? Is it kind of like the Corvettes where they get Bloomington Gold, or how's that work?
You get first, second, and third in your class, and then you can get specialty awards. You can get best of show and various things that are available in the Concours world. We've had probably 8 or 10, 12 cars that we've done Concours restorations on over the years, and that have all fortunately been winners. We put this car back correct. It's the correct color. We found the original. When we got the car, it was maroon, but it was the wrong shade. It was more of a burgundy. And we put this car back. We found the original inner structures. When you open this door here and look behind this door, there's a metal panel up here. You could see in behind here, there's a metal panel that covers that end that the hinges bolt through. And we found the original color on that panel, and good, clean, shiny original color, and we had the paint match back to it. And that's, we've got the build card on this car where it came from Chrysler. We went to Chrysler Historic Association, and they provided us the original build card showing that the car was built with a black top, Bedford cord, and matching red leather, and then the red outside. And so we've got everything that documents this car, that it was built the way you see it sitting here today.
Yeah, that's how it was, right?
That's exactly how it was. We have pictures, drawings. We even ordered from the gentleman in New Mexico. He sent us an original door panel that had everything on it. Of course, it was worn out and looked bad, but it showed where all the lines were, where the screws were, how the trim went on the door, everything. And Steve Holcomb at Pro Auto Interiors duplicated all of that back to exactly the way it was when it was done in 1947. This car has a lot of unique things on it. One thing about this car, it's fluid drive. It's a 4-speed fluid drive transmission, so it changes. It has a low side and a high side, and it changes actually without operating the clutch.
So it's an automatic or it's a stick shift?
You can. It's got a clutch pedal.
I see that.
You can use it to put it in and out of gear,
right.
But you can roll up to a stop sign, and all you do is reach up and put it in gear, and then you can let your foot out on the clutch and let it sit there and idle, and when you get ready to take off, you mash down on the throttle, and then when it winds up, you let off of it and it'll shift, and then you let it wind up again, and then you pull it down in this gear and it shifts, and then you let it off of it again and it shifts into 4th gear.
Holy smokes, they have air conditioning? What's this Comfort Master?
No, that's Varavents. That's heating. That system right there is the heat unit. If you'll notice the stripes on the heating unit, yeah, we found pictures of originals, unrestored cars, and that is the correct striping. That's the correct color on the on that. This?
No, down there in the bottom.
Oh, that's a vent. That's the AC. That's the fresh air vent up here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. How cool is that?
There's your fresh air.
Yeah, I like that. Man. And then you sent all this chrome plating out to be done and all that.
Yes, all the chrome plating. This car has a tremendous amount of chrome on it. Most all of this interior chrome, all of this on the door handles, all of this on the door panels, these trim pieces, the horns, the dash, all this is pop metal. Most of that was done at Advanced Plating in Nashville. Those Those spotlights, those are actually in 12 pieces, those spotlights. We had to disassemble those, and they had to plate each piece individually and make sure that it wasn't built up too much with copper, so they would go back together. And fortunately, the guys at Advanced Plating did a great job on it. We were able to put them all back together.
Still seems like a lot going on for 47.
Well, it was. They were a very involved car. This car sold for about $2,700, I believe it was, in 47. It weighed 4,620 pounds when it was built.
That's what I was going to ask you. I bet this thing is heavy.
I think it's probably closer to 5,000 pounds now with the additional chrome plating and insulating and materials and stuff we put in them now. But one thing interesting about these cars, they were vinyl and leather. If you look close, we matched up leather and vinyl. The door panels are vinyl. The only part of the interior that is leather is the part over the rolls, the part you sit on. The sides of those seats are vinyl, but they had to be a perfect match one to the other.
You can't tell.
And Steve and Tim took a lot of time matching up leather samples for us, and it worked out great. But that's the way they came. They were not full leather. So that's
interiors. Like modern day cars, because those are leather seating surfaces.
Yep.
Which everything else is vinyl.
That's exactly right. They did everything in this car in vinyl except these surfaces that your body actually sat on.
And what's this? Wool or something?
This is Bedford cord. Some of the TNCs they claim came with what was called a Highlander interior, which was a plaid type of an interior. But this car was not built that way. We have the build sheet where it went down the assembly line to punch, and it shows it with red leather and Bedford cord interior and a black top. So that's the way we put this one back.
It's like 1947 at the dealership all over again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about 200 horsepower. It's about 300. I believe it's 346 cubic inches. I'd have to go back and look at the spec sheets on it. I've not looked at it. It's an 8-cylinder. Straight 8. All your town and countries in your convertibles were straight 8s. Now Chrysler made a 6-cylinder, and I believe some of the town and country 4-doors were 6 cylinders. But my understanding is all of the town and country convertibles 46 to 48 were straight 8.
Now, is this primer or is that silver paint?
That's silver paint. That's actually the correct. We investigated and checked on that. All of these panels under here were done in a satin black, but the underneath sides of the hood were painted this gray color. This was actually originally like a sealer primer, and they actually did not paint the underneath side of the hood. We chose to match a flattened paint and put paint material on the underneath side, and then the maroon or the red color on the outside of it.
And then the old mason jar for your windshield wiper?
That's correct.
Man,
That's all correct.
And you got the OK stickers. Where do you find those? You had to have those made?
Actually, there's the gentleman in New Mexico has reproduced. He is the person who has all the reproduction parts. Well, I won't say all, but he's got 95% of what's available for these cars, reproduction and NOS. And he's down in La Luz, New Mexico, and he has had a lot of stuff built. He's a Chrysler expert and a Woody expert, and we conferred with Mr. Bickford. I guess we had 100 phone calls back and forth to Mr. Bickford over the restoration of this car, talking to him about details.
Has he seen it yet?
He saw pictures. He's not seen it in person.
Okay. Griffey, you even got the toolkit. Where do you get that at?
Well, we were able to find out again. Our friend down in New Mexico, we had a few of the tools. He supplied us the rest of the original style tools with new handles in them, of course, but the old style screwdriver bases, the old style hammers, all your spoon for changing your tires, your monkey wrench, your pliers, all the various different things. And that was a satchel that went in it. It came in the car when the car was purchased.
Laid back here in the trunk like that.
Laid back here in the trunk. That's an original style jack and everything that goes in it.
What size tires does this thing have?
This one has I believe these are 850s, 15s on it. And all this carpeting, this was exactly how it was all done originally with all the welts. We had pictures of originals and reproduced cars that were Concours winners, and where this was all done in these hide-em strips instead of doing it in one piece. This was how they were done. When I say welt strips, we had Steve to do it just exactly like it was supposed to be done. In other words, he could have done one smooth and made this all look smooth, but that's not how Chrysler did it. So we were after getting it done, and he's done several originals for me, and he knows how to do that as well as the super custom interiors.
Yeah.
And if you notice, this is all done correctly. These are the correct type. These are drive nails. This is what this was put on with originally. This is not
get a
some
special tool to do that?
Yep, yeah. And we had to take and order the nails and then paint them to the exact color of the interior, and then used a little padded deal to tap them on there.
And some of the details you left in this trunk have been covered up by the interior, but
yes,
they're still there if you look, like wood markings and things like
exactly.
that.
These cars, when they were built and came down the assembly line, actually they did the wood in a separate location, the best we can figure, because every piece of wood in this car when we got it took apart had a number on it. And if I remember correctly, this one was 1159. And what that meant was when those cars, after they assembled all the wood and made it up, then they took it all apart and finished it, and then as the chassis was coming down the assembly line, then they assembled all this wood onto this car, and all of those pieces had stamped markings on the back of them with ink dye of the number on it. And so some of this we had to replace, but if this interior was out of here, and you would see, we went back and we took pictures before we took it apart of where all those markings were, and we put all those ink marks back on there before we put the interior in it. So if anybody ever takes it out, it looks all original.
We did a progress video on this, so
yes,
if they go back and look at that a year or so ago, they'll be able to see what we're talking about.
That's correct.
Man, that is just top-notch work, Mr. Griffey.
Well, thank you. The people that work for me did a fabulous job on doing that. I was involved with some of it, but they get a lot of the credit. Kevin, who's my shop manager, and of course Jeff, who did the woodwork on it, and the other guys that were here working. They did the majority of that work on it.
Well, brother, beautiful job.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
What'd you say, it's a 47?
It's a 1947 Chrysler Town and Country convertible.
From Griffey's Hot Rods and Restorations. Hope y'all have enjoyed it. See ya.